This is a 2016 Dodge Charger. This is a four-door sedan with a very big V8 engine. The MSRP on this version of the Charger is about $32,000. This is a very big car, but with a pretty nice interior. I think you can kind of tell right here that everything really is designed very nicely. It has a minimalistic type feel, so there's not a lot of wasted space, and there is plenty of room in this back seat for your passengers. Let's start off by talking about design. I'm not blown away at the look of the Charger. I think it's a decent looking car, but there's nothing really special about it. The only thing that jumps out to me is the front grille right here, and then these headlights, which I kind of think could be a little bit more aggressively styled, but aren't too bad. It's really the interior that I like about this car. I like the red accents that are all over this car, and it has a very aggressive feel to everything on the interior. I also like that there's kind of a minimalistic feel here. There's not a lot of wasted space, and everything feels like it's really in its place. You can see things like how you shift the gears, how it automatically lights up with each gear that you go through. Little touches like this I really think make the Charger a good-looking car. But then Dodge insists on keeping this push-pedal parking brake, which I just despise, and I think it really makes this car feel a lot cheaper than it actually is. Let's switch gears and talk about storage. The Dodge Charger surprisingly has some pretty good storage, especially back here in the trunk. I mean, if you look at this, this is a very sizable trunk space, and in addition, the back seats fold down and give you even more room to store things. There's also a nice space right here next to the gear shift to put your cell phone, which I really wish more car manufacturers would emulate. And then you have an additional small area under the center console and right next to a power adapter to store some things. You also get two nice-sized cup holders that are hidden behind this nice sliding door. And then a very sizable compartment at the center armrest that also has this removable shelf where you can keep change. And then there's also a power adapter and then imports for audio in, USB, and a memory card. And I'm sorry for the poor image quality here. It was so cold that my camera actually froze up. So I had to film this a little bit with my cell phone, and it's just not quite as nice. This part too with the cell phone, but I did think it was important to show you this really sizable glove box. You get two shelves here, one on the bottom for the main things, and then a nice shelf up top where you can keep the owner's manual and some other odds and ends. Let's talk about tech. I think my favorite tech feature about this car is the key fob. It has a great weight to it, and I really like that there are only 4 major buttons. You also get a push-button start, which I'm kind of slightly disappointed with. I like that feeling of turning the key on a big V8 engine. And you do get a really nice heads-up display right here above the steering wheel. I'm going to cycle through a lot of the features. I like how there are digital gauges here and lots of different screens where you can see information about things while you're driving. I also really like that you have the ability to customize a lot of these screens and change what you see. So for example, you see the range up in the upper left-hand corner and the temperature outside in the upper right-hand corner. All of this can be changed and you can stick what you want anywhere on the heads-up display. I also really like the buttons on the steering wheel that you use to interact with the heads-up display. They just feel really nice in the hand. I'm showing you the cruise controls here, but the buttons on the left side of the steering wheel are almost identical. They just have different icons listed on each button, and they feel really nice to interact with. And in that same vein, you have this really nice touchscreen in the center console. It's a little small compared to some of the other cars in this class, but the touchscreen is designed really nicely. My biggest pet peeve with these touchscreens is having to go through lots of different menus just to find what I need. And that's not the case with the Dodge Charger. Everything is within one menu button. I also really love that there's a dedicated button right on the home screen to turn the entire screen off. I think this is essential, especially when you're driving at night. And moving into the back seat, in the center console you have 2 connections for USB ports in the back, which I think is really nice for your passengers. Enough about tech, let's talk about comfort, and mainly let's talk about climate controls. I found it super easy to find the right temperature in this car, which I really like and can't say about all the cars I've been driving lately. I also like that when you're adjusting the climate controls, you get these little pop-up windows on the touchscreen to sort of tell you exactly what temperature you're setting and how far the fan is. Little touches like this really improve the overall experience of this car. You also get heated seats that are accessible through the touchscreen, and I really like these. I'm not sure if you can tell, but the temperature outside the day I drove this car was about 20 degrees, so heated seats are a must. Let's jump in the back seat. I was really pleasantly surprised at the amount of legroom back here. I'm 6 feet tall and I had tons of space, even with the driver's seat pushed back pretty far. And let's close things out by talking about handling. First off, the acceleration in this car is great. You get a big V8 engine, so it just takes off when you hit that gas pedal. And the handling is really nice. This is a pretty wide, big car, so going around corners is really, really smooth. If I'm going to pick one thing that I love about the Dodge Charger, it's going to be actually driving this car. It is a ton of fun to drive. So that's the 2016 Dodge Charger. If I'm being completely honest, this really isn't my type of car. It's big, it gets horrible gas mileage, there's not a whole lot of practicality to this car. But even with all that being said, it's a ton of fun to drive. So I'm going to give the 2016 Dodge Charger 4 out of 5 stars. So this is my 20th rental. My goal is to do 100, and here's my top 10 list so far. I think this car is easily better than the 2016 Chevy Malibu. And although I love the interior of the Fiat 500X, I think this is a better car than that one too. So I'm putting the 2016 Dodge Charger at number 7 on my list, just slightly above the Fiat 500X. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when I review the 2017 Nissan Maxima.